Hi. This is a replica of a historic object that's referred to as a farmer's ring. I've actually never held one of these. You would set one dial to the longitude that you're at in the Earth, and you'd set the other dial to the month of the year that you're in, and then you could hold it at a particular angle, and the shadow that it would cast would tell you pretty much exactly what time it was. It's a pretty cool, wearable tech part of fashion history. This is also created by Martin Margiela. It's one of the best ideas of his early work. I would say that the recreation and the use of this is a stronger part of his early design language than the tabby boot is. When people say, I'm going to do research, I feel like we are missing a lot of what that actually means. So I am at a place right now in Miami where meaningful fashion research is done. And there is an exhibit right now about some very complex work from Yohji Yamamoto, Rei Kawakubo, and Issey Miyake that is exploring elements of those designers' work that has not been talked about, at least in the West. This is the Parodi Costume Collection.
My name is Annabella Delle Piane, and I am a fashion curator and writer.
So you curated this exhibit. Can you talk just a little bit about how curation itself can speak to people?
Essentially what it is research. It's a lot of research, and it's kind of just being able to put together a bunch of different components in an aesthetically pleasing way. You want to walk into this space and feel like you're somewhere else.
I mean, it's literally like the Miami Design District is like a 3-minute walk that way. This is very much in the middle of an environment that does not align with what's in this room.
Exactly. And so I already had this interest in Japanese fashion. So I'm like, okay, we have a good Japanese collection here. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go into it.
Is this an English PCC? This is camera 3 on the iPhone.
Besides touring the exhibition, Daniela and I were lucky enough to pull a series of garments from the PCC permanent collection and really dig into them with Annabella and Jesus. For Danny and me, this is one of our favorite shared fashion collections of all time.
We felt that this one particularly helped because of the shapes, right? Because of the space in between the body and the garment, right?
You put this on and essentially it's made to be flat. So when you put it on, it takes up a 3D figure and you end up having space in between the body and the garment itself.
It definitely distorts the proportions of your regular garment.
Yeah, it's almost like a paper doll dress.
And it's a show where you almost kind of take the color for granted because it is such a colorful show. But in this space, it is, I think, the only objects that are colorful, I think, in the entire exhibition. This has got to be Comme des Garçons.
No, this is a luggage bag from Louis Vuitton. Let me take all this paper. So we put this paper in for archival purposes to give it shape so the shape doesn't get distorted. Although with combs pieces and this kind of material, it's hard for it to do, but we'd rather be safe than sorry. The actual base of the whole dress is this kind of plastic PVC, and it's then kind of embroidered over with this wool felt design, right?
Yeah, yarn that's been stapled down.
Yeah, it has some
little
floral.
flowers.
Yeah, it has some floral shapes, but it gets distorted kind of throughout, where more parts are kind of mixed and intertwined.
And even if it was a raincoat, this is not the kind. I mean, this is plastic that you would shrink wrap something in. This is maybe a little thicker than shrink wrap plastic, but this has no apparel application. I wouldn't think.
No, and it contradicts a raincoat because then you have this wool that if it gets wet, it gets damaged, right?
This is from spring 2009?
Yes.
Cool. I would think that with that amount of time, it now being 2026, usually we would be seeing a lot more yellowing, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
In the plastic?
Yeah, probably.
And it looks like something's, either the plastic itself has a way of protecting itself from oxidizing, or the wool is doing something that's keeping it nice and clear.
I think it is storage conditions.
Yeah.
Here at the archive have gotten a lot of pieces that over the years have yellowed out, but it's because they were poorly stored.
This exhibit is called In Praise of Ma. Ma is a Japanese term. It's hard to understand it as a concept. Could you just talk out a little bit what Ma means?
So Ma is a Japanese principle. I kind of came across it researching about the history of Japanese fashion, going all the way back to the kimono, and how they purposefully put a lot of space in between the collar and like the neck bone. It is basically about empty space. There's a potential for something. I don't know, personally, I feel like I've had some very impactful instances where I had to kind of confront myself. And those periods came with a lot of space in between. It came with a lot of just not understanding and wanting to understand and a lot of ambiguity. And it's like, what's the direction? Where do I go? And you slowly start to realize that you don't need to understand. You don't need to get to a conclusion.
Ambiguity is a lot more of a tool in life than I think maybe, at least in America, than what we talk about it as. The ambiguity is sort of the space where you figure out kind of what you really want. Or at least for me, that's what a lot of it's been. The times where I'm like really uncertain about something is the time when I'm able to get the most thought life work done on it.
What Ma really emphasizes is like, it's not really about the destination itself. It really is about just existing in that space. In the process of making the Zen garden, we kind of did know where to put the piece. We didn't want the rocks in the Zen garden to kind of distract from the piece itself. So we're like, okay, we have to choose everything in a way that the proportions seem right and it does bring attention to the eye, like that, yes, we're looking at an object, we're looking at a garment.
As we work in an archive, we've been making all these 100% cotton bags. And so all our closets here have garments in each garment bag. And then on the side, it has a photo of what's inside and a little window so we can see what's inside.
Who made this piece?
So this is another Alexander McQueen piece, skirt suit from It's a Jungle Out There collection.
Awesome show.
This one shows more of his tailoring capabilities, right? It has this notch peak lapel collar, and then it has another collar inside that shows the lining kind of peeking out, right? On the cuff, on the hem, and on the collar.
Which I think shows how much Lee looked up to Martin Margiela. A Margiela thing that is very similar to the dress that you were wearing by Margiela.
Yes.
This is the same one with like the horns coming out of the shoulder and stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely pretty interesting the way that the lining is distributed throughout the jacket. Yeah, like comes to like this point. This is what designer?
Alexander McQueen from 1998.
Spring, summer.
Spring, summer.
And this dress was actually modeled on Kate Moss, I believe, but it's a sheer one.
I mean, if you look at this flat, it's hard to understand. On the body, you'll see that this kind of curve scrunches up and creates a beautiful kind of drape around one side of the garment. And, you know, the distortion of the neckline kind of in proportion to it will also affect how it looks on your shoulders and sleeves and arms.
Examining garments like this one made it very clear what the difference in research quality was at Parodi Costume Collection. The lesson that Jesus very succinctly gave us through this McQueen dress is a lesson that cannot be learned from a laptop screen. I mean, you just learned that lesson now if you are on a laptop, but you understand what I mean. They need physical research in order to do their own job excellently.
This is Jeremy Scott Moschino 2014.
Cheez-Its, y'all. Or, I'm sorry, unbranded cheese crackers.
There's so much tulle in here. Wait.
Befitting of a Disney princess. No, there's nutrition facts on it. Stop. And I mean, recyclable. I think it actually is recyclable because I'm pretty sure this is a polyester fabric. And his whole philosophy, especially when he went to Moschino, was like, if you can make them laugh, they'll buy it. The mouse pimp of the dress, 500 grams, oven baked and made with a lot of artificial flavors. And then it says oven baked again. Perhaps the most interesting thing about the Parodi Costume Collection is that it is run almost entirely by young people. There is, of course, the matriarch of PCC, Paquita, Miss Parodi, and while the final call for the major decisions at PCC are controlled by her and her son Gonzalo, The day-to-day operations are managed and executed by a staff of young people.
My name is Jesus Pineda, and I am Director of Operations and Logistics and Media here.
Outside of PCC, you are like a fashion designer, but if I say fashion designer, I feel like people would get the wrong idea in their head. Fashion designers come to you when they need help.
I do have my own brand, but I also take on personal clients to make sure, their vision is met.
If we're being totally honest, you are how old?
I'm 25.
So there are not a lot of 25-year-olds curating exhibitions. What were you doing before you were here?
I have a degree in chemistry. I realized that I'm like, wait, I don't think I want to do chemistry anymore. And I was terrified because, my family, my friends are like, oh, you focused your life.
Yeah, you're a science girl.
Yeah, and I absolutely loved it because I think what it did is really help me figure out a different way of thinking. And I think that I apply that to fashion itself and even curation. I kind of just bring a mode of thinking that you wouldn't get if you're just only studying fashion.
And then you got started here doing what at first?
I started as an intern. I was working upstairs and I was doing inventory. So we're in this process of just organizing all the pieces in the collection and documenting everything. I was really learning about just the history of fashion physically, which is incredible. Being able to just learn through actually seeing the clothing is an incredible experience.
All right.
Are we doing the staircase?
Yeah.
This one's so good. I wanted to put this one in the exhibition downstairs in an installation, and I wanted to put it almost like in an alcove and it be set up almost like a lamp. When you think, for example, like pleats please, it's such a simple idea, but there's so many things that come out of it. That's when you know it's good.
He really just kind of created a format in which you could just keep doing new ideas and keep iterating or whatever. It's almost like someone discovered wool.
Yeah.
Or it's just kind of like, man, this stuff is great for making dresses.
It's like, oh, we're gonna use a canvas for painting.
Yeah.
There's a really, really famous photo of Irving Penn shooting this same dress, but in gold. I believe when we purchased this, the seller had it where there was like a pole or something that was maintaining this straight on the mannequin.
Yeah, so they had it like structured.
Yeah, so it was very structured and it looked like that staircase. But when you don't have that inner working hardware, it just kind of drapes down and creates this kind of like flowy look.
I worked on writing here, so I was able to do a lot of research on just specific topics and then write about it and have it be posted.
That's literally, I believe, happening upstairs right now. I mean, like when tasks were being doled out by Jesus earlier, somebody's up there literally doing research and writing in the library right this very moment. It's a fashion think tank over here.
And working here, I was able to kind of discover like, okay, there's a curator, there's people that work on the displays and the sets and the research. And so I got introduced to curation that way.
But just to say that like you curating is not something that you learned about hypothetically. You learned this by actually doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
And who is this?
This is Junya Watanabe. So basically this collection, it was very punk, a lot of deconstruction. And this jacket specifically, it was made from military surplus. And it was reconstructed to kind of give this very small waist coat. The zippers that are pretty heavy duty, and kind of just patchwork together.
Yeah, this is kind of the heart of Junya's body of work. It's if you're taking his stuff in one at a time, it's very confusing and you just sort of feel like he just is tossing out random ideas every show. But the military surplus being kind of like reconstructed in a new vision, this is the thing that he returns back to about a third of the time. And this is in my opinion, this is some of the best like examples of deconstruction, reconstruction stuff that's on the market.
It just looks so kind of busy, but in a way where it's really satisfying to the eye.
The Parodi Costume Collection is a really special place. Daniela and I get really excited every time that we get to go out and make the visit. If you want to check out the full interview that I did with Annabella, where we talked in a lot of nuanced detail about how such a small exhibition was able to fit together with such purpose, you can check that out right now on our Patreon, along with dozens of hours of extra video. And if you would like to visit the Parodi Costume Collection, you absolutely should if you live anywhere close to Miami. Just call ahead to make sure there's not already a scheduling conflict. They're a really small institution. I feel really fortunate that we got to share this with you all. This is kind of what this channel is set up to do. We really love episodes like this. Peace.